Hello, everyone. Today we'll be reviewing a key section from Quantitative Methods, which is how to annualize returns when you have non annual compounding. We'll also be reviewing continuously compounded rates, how to calculate leverage portfolio returns, and calculating real rates of return when you have risk and inflation premiums. These are important skills to know when preparing for level 1 of the CFA exam. So without further ado, let's jump in here. Here's a problem you may see on level 1 of the CFA exam. Let's suppose a client needs $5 million 7 years from today. How much would the client need to invest if there was an investment that paid 7% per year, compounded monthly? So when I see this question, the first two keywords are compounded monthly. I would highlight that. Make sure to underline key phrases from the problem when taking level 1 of the CFA exam. Here's the formula for calculating present value when we are dealing with non-annual compounding. The present value is equal to the future value at time n multiplied by 1 plus the quoted annual interest rate, and then divide by the number of compounding periods per year. So let's go back to the problem to plug in our values to this equation. Present value is the variable we need to solve for. So we don't know that one yet. The future value is 5 million. Number of compounding periods is 12, since the question is assuming monthly compounding, and there are 12 months in a year. If the question said weekly compounding, then you would use 52 for M, since there are 52 weeks in a year. Alternatively, if the question was stating, say, quarterly, then you would use 4. The annual interest rate is 7%, and the number of years, or N, is 7. To solve this problem, we would multiply 5 million by 1.00583 to the power of negative 84. 5 million multiplied by 0.6135 equals $3,067,495.85. So the correct answer for this one is A. Next, let's look at how to annualize rates of return. Suppose we had the following rates of return. First one is 0.2%, a weekly return. Second is 0.5% return over 18 days, or 3.3% return over the past 4 months. Which one has the highest annual return? You'll see a few questions on the CFA exam related to this. So to annualize the 0.2% weekly return, we would take 1 plus the weekly return and raise it to the power of 52, since there are 52 weeks in a year. We would then subtract 1 to find the annual return of 10.95%. To annualize the 0.5% return over the 18 days, we would take 1 plus the 18-day return and raise it to the power of 365 divided by 18. Since there are 365 days in a year, we would then subtract 1 to find the annual return of 10.64%. And finally, to annualize to find out what the annual return for the 3.3% return over the past 4 months is, we would take 1 plus the 4-month return and raise it to the power of 12 divided by 4. Since there are 12 months in a year, we would then subtract 1 to find the annual return of 10.23%. Thus, we find that the 0.2% weekly return has the highest annual return at 10.95%. Next, let's discuss continuously compounded rates of return. The continuously compounded return assumes that investment returns are being reinvested and compounded at every instance in time, rather than at discrete intervals such as monthly or annually. It's based on natural logarithms and provides a smooth way to compare returns over different time periods. So let's find a question here. We see that the price of XYZ stock at time 0 is 10 per share. The price of XYZ stock at time 1 is 12 per share. The continuously compounded rate of return for XYZ stock from time 0 to time 1 is closest to. So let's just dive into this a little bit again. A continuously compounded return assumes your investment is compounding at every single moment in time, not just once a year or once a month. It's based on natural logarithms, and the formula is the natural log of the ending value divided by the beginning value. So, as we see in this question, if an investment grows from 10 to 12, the continuously compounded return is the natural log of 12 divided by 10, which equals about 18.23%. That's slightly lower than the simple 20% holding period return because it assumes smooth, continuous compounding. The nice part about continuously compounded returns are that they're additive over time, so you can easily combine them across periods, which makes them super useful for CFA quantitative methods and real world portfolio analysis. Next, let's look at how to calculate leveraged returns for a portfolio. So you may see a question like this on the quantitative methods section on level 1 of the CFA exam. It says a $20 million equity portfolio is financed with 25% debt at a cost of 5%. If the equity portfolio generates a 9% annual investment return, what is the leveraged return? So here's the formula for how to calculate leverage returns. The leverage return is equal to the portfolio return plus the debt divided by equity times the portfolio return less the cost of debt. So plugging our figures for this problem into the formula yields a leverage return of 10.33% for this portfolio. And last but not least, let's take a look at how to calculate real rates of return and risk premiums. So let's suppose you're given a table with the following asset classes. We've got equities at 9%, corporate bonds, and we've also got treasury bills there. And we've also got the inflation rate. So let's define the real rate of return for equities. Let's write out the formula, which is 1 plus the nominal return is equal to 1 plus the real rate of return times 1 plus the risk premium. In this case, the risk premium is the inflation premium. So we can divide both sides of the equation by 1 plus the inflation premium. The inflation premium cancels out, so we're left with X, which is the real rate of return. Divide 1 plus the return for equities, which is 9%, by 1.023, since the inflation premium is 2.3%, and we just add 1 to that. Then subtract 1 to find the real rate of return for equities, which is 6.55%. So the correct answer is B. To find the real rate of return for corporate bonds, simply take 1 plus 6% divided by 1 plus 0.023. If we were asked what the risk premium for equities is, we would take 1.09 divided by 1 plus the risk-free rate of 2.5%. Thus, we can see that the risk premium for equities is 6.34%. Thanks for watching the video. Please like the video and subscribe for more CFA Level 1 test prep videos and other CFA related educational content.